What are mans? It's Taco Mans, and today I'm going to switch my old halogen light bulbs on my Toyota Tacoma for these brand new Auxito LED lights. I'm going to show you the install process, give a review, and compare the old and new lights. Let's talk about it. I'm installing these Auxito 9003 LED bulbs. They're high beam and low beam combined and are categorized as off-road lights. They retail for about $100 Canadian, but Auxito was kind enough to send these to me for free. Auxito is an automotive LED manufacturer, so if you're looking for headlights, fog lights, dome lights, or any other lights for your vehicle, please consider using my discount code TACOMANSAUXITO to get 15% off and to help my channel grow. Alright, inside the box we have some gloves, which are not shown here, a manual, some zip ties, and two LED light assemblies. The light assemblies come with a lock ring, a driver, and a plug. The back of the light also comes with a cooling fan. I installed these lights at camp with no tools other than what was inside the box. I started on the passenger side by unplugging the electrical and then removing the rubber grommet. The next thing I did was plug in the new LED light right away to test it out. The light was fully operational and very bright, so I was excited to get them installed. I unplugged it and then continued by trying to remove the halogen light bulb. I was pulling at it, but it wasn't budging. There's a metal clip that needs to be removed, which you'll see later. After removing the clip, I was able to wiggle the light bulb out. I took the lock ring from the Auxito LED and made sure the orientation was as shown. The flat part of the circle needs to be at the bottom. The ring will not seat properly until it's correctly positioned. Once it was seated, I locked the clip back in place, which you'll see appear in the small cutout to the left of the lock ring. Now that the lock ring was in place, I reinstalled the rubber grommet by pressing it in place. Next, it was time to install the actual light. The finished orientation should look like this, with the LEDs facing side to side in the 9 and 3 o'clock position, along with the electrical wiring facing downward. In order to do this, I installed it upside down first, with the electrical facing upward, and you'll understand why in a moment. Once the pins align, it's seated properly within the lock ring. At this point, you'll see the electrical is facing upward. Now I start to turn the light assembly until the pins hit the edge. You can see the light can no longer spin, and the LEDs are facing in the 9 and 3 o'clock position. Back under the hood, you can see the electrical is now facing downward. I proceeded to plug in the light and place the electrical out of the way. One side is done and I'm loving the way it looks so far. Here's a comparison of the old halogen bulb versus the new LED light. Here's that same comparison later that night. Looking at the truck head on, you can see the LED is much brighter compared to the halogen bulbs. The difference is even greater for high beam. It's the next day and I'm going to install the driver's side now. It's basically the same thing, but I have a bit more experience under my belt, so the install went a bit smoother. I started by unplugging the electrical, then removing the rubber grommet. The light fell out with the grommet, so I just fished it out from below. Here I'm removing the lock ring assembly and showing you again how the assembly works. Orient the flat part toward the bottom. Once you install the light and turn it in the correct position, you should have the flat part and the electrical facing the bottom, with the LEDs on the left and right side or the 9 and 3 o'clock side of the lock ring. To install it, I put my finger through the ring and used my index finger to move the locking clip out of the way. This one took a few tries, but once I was in the correct orientation, it seated right away. While holding the lock ring in place, I used my other finger to lock the clip. Then I replaced the rubber grommet and proceeded to install the light just like before, upside down to start. In my Tacoma, there's not much room in front of each light. There's a battery on the driver's side and a windshield washer fluid reservoir on the passenger side. Luckily, it's just enough room to wiggle the lights in place. Here you can see the electrical is now pointing downward. All that's left is to plug in the light and we're done. I really like how these turned out, and they were really useful to have at camp. I've driven with these new LEDs at camp and on a recent road trip to Mont Tremblant, Quebec, and they really illuminated the dark mountain roads at night. The Auxito website says the light color is 6500K, which is considered cool white and can be described as an intense white with a slightly bluish tone. They claim to be 40 watts and 8000 lumens per bulb, so it's 80 watts and 1600 lumens combined. They're also categorized as off-road. Now I don't off-road or overland, but I will drive on dirt and gravel trails leading to campsites, and they've been great for those applications so far. The expected lifespan is 50 hours. They claim to achieve this lifespan due to the cooling fan, so time will tell how long these last. You can see in this comparison video that the LEDs reach much further and illuminate the dark road much better than the halogen lights. I can honestly say these are brighter and better than my halogen bulbs. There have been times in dark and rainy nights where I had to keep checking if my lights were actually on. I find that doesn't happen with these LEDs anymore. Overall, I'm extremely happy with these LED lights from Auxito. They seem high quality from a materials perspective, and they're noticeably brighter, there's no question about that. I'm more excited to take my Taco on adventures because of it. Big thanks again to Auxito for sending me these lights. If you're looking to update to LEDs, please consider using my discount code TacoMansAuxito, or you can click the link in the description below. Do you use LEDs or halogen? What are your reasons for using one or the other? Let me know in the comments. Please like, share, subscribe, and vibe. I'll catch you on the next Taco Man's out. Peace.